Monday, August 8, 2016, to order. Clerk, call the roll, please. Alderman Putoff. Here. Ferrari. Here. Waldorf. Lukosius. Radke. Mueller. Sapienza. Payton. Mayor Hall. Here. Pledge of allegiance. Do we have any presentations? No, Your Honor. Have any public comment on agenda items? No comment cards, Your Honor. Okay, do we have a motion to receive the minutes and place on file?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second to receive the minutes and place on file. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Have a motion to receive the financial reports and place on file.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor. Have a motion and a second to receive the financial reports and place on file. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor, your notice in the home rule telecommunication tax receipt sales tax, you see the city has increased of 4% over the course from last year. So that bodes very well for city and retail sales. You also see the use tax up 13.8% and the telecom tax up 6.2%. So that is positive from the retail base. Thank you.
What was the tax receipts?
Tax receipts are up 4%.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. Do we have a motion to receive the activity reports and place on file? Have a motion and a second to receive the activity reports and place on file. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Your Honor. From the water and wastewater treatment plants report for June 2016, we show total water produced a little over 83 million gallons. On the wastewater side, at our east plant, we treated in normal flow almost 107 million gallons, and at the west plant, a little over 38 million gallons. I will make a motion that we accept this report and make it and put it into the file.
Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Your Honor, I'd just like to go over the monthly electric report. The operations report for the month of June showed that kilowatt hours sold resulted in charges of $2,160,096.52, and purchase power avoided due to our hydro plant was $92,330.88.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports on the reports? Okay, all in favor, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. Committee, Finance Safety Services, Chairman Putoff.
My esteemed council member, Alderman Radke, will handle the execution of our disbursements tonight.
Yes, Your Honor. Total disbursements for 8/10 of 2016 are $1,802,019.71. I move that those be received, placed on file, and the bills paid in the usual manner.
I will second that, Your Honor. I have a motion and a second to receive the disbursements, place on file, and pay the bills in the usual manner. Is there any discussion? Call the roll. Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, tonight I'd like to make a motion to approve a $1,000 donation to the Illinois Valley Pad Shelter. The Pad Shelter provides a very important service in our community, and certainly in the city of Peru it helps offset many things that we would normally have to take care of. So it's in direction of the City Council tonight to make a motion to approve that donation.
Do we have a motion, a second?
Payton.
Well, Alderman Radke raised his hand.
It's a third. He thirded it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve $1,000 donation to the Illinois Pads. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, clerk call the roll. Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari. Aye. Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton. Motion approved.
Tonight, Your Honor, we'd also like to, on behalf of the Finance Committee, make a motion to authorize the execution of a letter of intent with Bernardi Securities Incorporated. Bernardi Securities will review the bond and loan breakout for the City of Peru and it may have some potential to remarket the bond and certainly would have some savings for the city. So they will analyze all of that. With the letter of intent, there's no upfront cost for the city. So that is a motion that I'll make tonight.
Second, Your Honor.
We have a motion and a second to authorize execution of letter of intent with Bernardi Securities Incorporated. And we're not spending anything at this time, so is there any discussion? All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve a donation to the Peru Veterans Memorial Group to offset expenses for an aerial flyover during the annual Pearl Harbor Parade and Memorial Service, December 3rd.
$500.
That's $500.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the donation for Peru Veterans Memorial Group to offset Pearl Harbor Parade Memorial Services on December 3rd, $500. Is there any discussion?
The Veterans Group's looking for a total of $5,000 to complete the flyover, and the city is handling the $500. So if there are people out there in the community who want to support the flyover by the Avengers Group, please contact the Peru Veterans Memorial Group.
Okay, any further discussion? Have a roll call vote, call the roll.
Alderman for, I'm getting right past you, Dave. Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokocius. Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we approve a donation to the Boy Scouts of America, 3rd Annual LaSalle Peru Founders Patrol Breakfast, August 16th. For $100.
Okay, we have a second?
Yes.
Okay, is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokocius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, I'd like to make another motion to approve a $500 donation to Illinois Valley Super Bowl for the annual Illinois Valley Professional Bowlers Tournament, October 15th and 16th. They fill our motels that weekend with bringing in people, so I'll make that a motion.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion to approve donation Ivy Super Bowl for the Professional Bowlers Tournament, which does bring in quite a few people, $500. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call vote, clerk call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokocius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller. Sapienza. Payton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Your Honor, that's all we have in Finance and Safety Service.
Okay, thank you. Public Services, Chairman Waldorf.
Yes, Your Honor. My esteemed colleague, Alderman Mueller, will start the motions.
Thank you. Your Honor, tonight we have a motion to approve engineering service agreement with Chamlin and Associates for the St. John Subdivision Area Storm Sewer Improvements with a cost not to exceed $29,900.
I will second that, Your Honor.
We have a motion and a second to approve the engineering services for St. John subdivision storm improvements with the cost not to exceed $29,900. Is there any discussion?
I'd just say that I appreciate the fact that this is on the agenda. This is something that Alderman Payton and I have been talking with some of the residents in St. John's and some of the streets up there, and starting to deteriorate, and there's not really very good drainage in that subdivision, so we're just trying to improve that before we resurface the streets, so this will tell us what we need to do.
And I'd just like to add, on Alderman Radke, his comments, we're looking at this as a phased program in that area because we do lack some storm sewer. There are some streets that need to be addressed. We tried to address some of them in this year's street program, so we did Plum Street next to the school. We had sufficient drainage on that end, but the remaining portions of the St. John subdivision, we do need to address the drainage as a problem. And the agreement is mainly for the survey work and some preliminary software work with some stormwater modeling that we don't have in-house. And then from that point, the city will take the design responsibilities on for this project.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Have a roll call vote, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff. Aye. Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Also tonight, Your Honor, we have a motion to approve an upgrade to the citywide Avaya phone system to the current software version and a new server replacing Windows XP with a cost breakdown as follows. City Hall, $5,780, the Electric Department, $5,930, and the Fire Department, $3,147, for a total cost of $14,857. This is something that we really don't have a choice whether to have this done. The server will no longer work because of Windows XP, and it's not supported through the Avaya system, so we do need to upgrade those three areas. I'll make that a motion.
Have a motion second to approve the upgrade to the phone system, not to, let's see, a total cost $14,857.
Just for note, that's with, PSEC, correct, Chief?
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Motion approved.
Next, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve security upgrade in the amount of $18,265 for the electric department through SECO Incorporated.
I will second that, Your Honor.
Have a motion second to approve a security upgrade in the amount of $18,265 for the electric department. Chief.
What that'll be is a part of the citywide security system that's in this building, the new Public Works facility, and then the electric department building. It's part of the keypad system, eliminating keys that logs when people are going through doors any given time of the day or night. It's the next step in our security process. We do have about a 3-year plan that we started, I guess, late last fall. For the key system, and then we'll be looking at video systems down the road. What's nice about this system, it can be controlled. It's a citywide system. It's controlled out of Dave's office from a computer. He's able to give access to any individual. We're able to track who's coming, who's going, and also can be tied into a time card system, which is logging in with the key. So it's just the next step in our security system in the city.
Any discussion? Well, roll call vote, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Finally, Your Honor, I'll make a motion to approve a proposal from Lajinsky Cement Finishing for sidewalk replacement downtown Peru for a cost not to exceed $11,713. This is on the corner of 4th and Peoria Street where the slabs of concrete have heaved and are a hazard, so we do need to get that replaced.
Have a motion and a second to approve the proposal from Mazinski for sidewalk replacement downtown Peru, cost not to exceed $11,713. Is there any discussion? I know Alderman Waldorf just said some of it's heaved, but some of it has heaved, and some of it's falling in. I don't know if there's a void, a vault, what's going on, but it's a pretty hazardous situation over there, so. Okay, roll call vote, call roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Lukosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Motion approved.
Chief?
Any-
One other thing I want to discuss, last week in the paper, I don't know if anybody saw, but there was a letter to the editor concerning the cemetery and the condition of the cemetery. I just want to let the council know that I start my day every day going through that cemetery. Every morning I drive through there when I leave my house. We had a lot of employees there this summer. I made it pretty good place. It's been taken well care of. We've tried to, there may have been a couple days that we've fallen behind only because of rain. Obviously, it pushes us back. We're not going to have city employees there when it's raining, so we'll let them go home. But we do our best to keep up with that cemetery and try to make it a showpiece. And I believe if you drive through there at any time, you're gonna see that it's always a work in progress. We start mowing that cemetery on Monday, and we don't finish till Friday, and we start right back over on Monday. It's never ending. Each block, and the weed eating is done every 2 weeks at a minimum. But there's some items on social media that I responded to. I want everybody to know that I did. And I asked some people to come to the meeting tonight, and if they had an issue with this, I wanted it to be put on the floor. I was accused of being a bully for that. I'm not. I choose not to fight on social media. I'll never do that because I don't think it's fair. But I'm not a bully. I did take some pics today, and this is after a weekend, okay? This is after last week, a typical mowing of what we did. You can pass some of them around if you want to look at them. But this is today, okay? So you can see hasn't been touched for 3 days, and it's in real good shape. And this is after 3 days. So I welcome people to come in here and talk to me about it, or call me, or my door is always open. And I'm not going to fight on social media. I won't do it. So I just want everybody in here to know, please take a trip through. I welcome you to go through the cemetery. I know Alderman Mueller's there quite a bit. We take pretty big pride in that. The city employees work hard up there. Les is doing a tremendous job up there. He stepped up since Andy is no longer with us. He stepped up and done a fantastic job. It looks very good. And I welcome anybody to go up there. And if anybody has a problem with it, they need to come and see me, and I'll go with them. And they can show me where the issues are at, because I'd welcome that. So.
Thank you on that, Chief King, and I commend you for that. I think the cemetery looks great. There was some discussion on a local radio station on Friday morning, and I did call in and respond to that. There was a good conversation that resulted because of that, and I think that there were some items that were cleared up. So where that letter came from, it must have gone straight to the newspaper, because I'm not aware of any communication from anyone with any complaints. So I stuck up for all of it.
Thank you. We did call Jim Baum, was the person that did put that letter in. Chief Burnaby and I called him on Friday morning just to kind of get him an idea where he was at and kind of what he was looking at. And the only thing he could tell us was he was coming down Plank Road, and when he came down Plank Road, he'd look over, and that area only, on up there where there's basically no tombstones. And keep in mind, we take care of the cemetery proper, which is the grass, the weed eating, the burials, the regrass seeding. We don't take care of headstones. That's not the city's responsibility. And sometimes I think they're getting them confused. If they see a headstone that's broke or knocked over or chipped, that's not us. That's on whoever's plot or whoever owns that. That's not us. But we do take care of the grass. We do take care of the weeding. We take care of replanting grass. It's tough right now. I mean, I think everybody up here knows that every 3 days you're mowing your lawn right now. It's not, we're not getting a break. And I'm going from 3 employees to 2 employees after Friday. So it's going to be tough. I'm going to have to rearrange, get some public works guys up there, just because by this time of year normally we're not mowing as much as what we are. But we're also getting a lot of weeds. With all this rain, generates weeds. And so we're seeing a lot of that. So where we're planting on top of freshly dug graves, we're seeing more weeds than we are grass, and we're trying to keep that under control. But now we're putting straw down to try and prevent that. So some of those areas that have fresh graves, you're going to see a little bit of weeds and stuff like that, but that's maintenance. That's the way it operates. Other than that, I think those guys are doing a fantastic job up there. You know, some of the comments that you're seeing on Facebook, they saw kids stand underneath a tree. This is 90-some degrees out. I encourage them to take breaks and stand under a tree, because I don't want them flopping over up there, okay? So if they have an issue with kids taking a break because they're mowing or weed whipping out in the sun all day long, well, then that's their problem. But overall, I think it's in great shape, and I welcome anybody to go up there and look at it and tell me if they don't think it is, because I'll do whatever it takes.
Hey, Jeff, I think it's important. I think all of us up the city council feel it's important that you take the pride you do in your work, and certainly that you handle any criticisms head on. So if there are problems, anonymous Facebook is not a criticism. Please contact the officials to get it done. That's what we're about.
Jeff, just one thing, as someone who goes to that cemetery probably 3 times a week, that cemetery looks good. Those guys work hard, they take care of it, and where he's coming down looking on Plank Road, that happens to be where my son's at. That looks as good as it has ever looked. And just tell the guys thank you, we're happy with it.
Well, my folks are there too, and I'm in that cemetery, and I think they're doing a great job. The trees have been taken care of. Chief Burnaby, we've gone through the cemetery and the trees are done.
Absolutely, yep.
We've done, outside of repaved the road that goes through there, we've done yeoman's work up there. And I too agree with Alderman Payton. I think it's in excellent shape.
Yeah, we're working on a tremendous facelift up there. There's things that's gonna be happening up at the cemetery, new pavement, mausoleum, different things like that. They're gonna even be better with it. But, yeah,
Chief, I also have relatives and parents up there, and I look at it like the weeds and the curbs in front of your house. Go out, at the cemetery, I go up there and I edge my parents, and the sewer's in front of your house. I mean, you can go out and sweep them too. I mean, you do a great job. They do a great job. I just think the owner, how do I put it?
I find it interesting that at the clerk's office where we do all the record keeping for the cemetery, and I have multiple times a week customers coming in that are buying grave spaces, consulting about finding loved ones at the cemetery. In the last 2 years, I've got not one person that's ever walked up to the counter to buy a grave space or inquire about it that's complained in one way or another, anything negative about the maintenance of the cemetery. So, I mean, I'm seeing people, I'm talking to people every single day almost about the cemetery. This is the first time that, it's an almost impossible task for the place to be perfect, but I've never seen a complaint since I've been operating.
Well, I think the end result of this discussion is that, we have your back, and we think you're doing a good job. And outside of anonymous and somebody driving 30 or 40 miles an hour and looking a little bit to the west quickly so that they don't wreck their car, they think they see something or pretended they saw something and thought that they should put it in the paper. So I think everybody up here is pleased with the way the cemetery is, and I know those guys are working their butts off.
Where are we at with the engineering firm on the mausoleum?
I'm currently working through they're going to be here later this week for a site visit, and hopefully by the next council meeting, I'll have the parameters of that contract hammered out to present to you as a council.
That's one item that we've been working on for going on a year. When did we meet up there? Public Services met at the cemetery in August or September a year ago, and then we had to go to the courts to free up the money that was there so we could use that money for our cemetery. And everything's in motion, things don't happen overnight, but there's a lot of progress in motion up there. So if somebody's not happy, what are you going to do? I don't know. There's a lot of progress in motion, so. All right, does anybody else have anything on that? Okay.
Services, and just in relation to the Venture Drive project that's currently underway. I'm sure that all of you have seen, we had a notice on the website as well as in the paper and notified the radio. We do have a closure on 38th Street between Venture Drive and the west entrance to Dollar Tree Hobby Lobby. That closure will be up for about 2 weeks while we do a widening along 38th and some improvements there. And then we'll have another traffic flip to the next stage 3 of the project. We're moving along very well at this point. Just wanted to update everybody with the current closures, and then we'll keep both media outlets and the city website up to date as we move into the next stages.
Thank you. Chief Burnaby, anything else? No, sir. That's all from Public Services, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Report City Attorney, ordinances, resolutions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, for the zoning commission petition of GG Partners
which is the developer of the proposed Dollar General store at the Public Works property in northwest corner of 6th and Peoria Street. They requested a text amendment to the zoning ordinance and variances. All members of the commission are present except Atkinson and Miller. Ryan Switzer, professional engineer of Arc Design Resources, presented a site plan for the property. And there was a question if there was the most optimal development of that property, and they responded that it was. And they had made and incorporated their plan of the recommendations of the design review committee. A neighbor across the street, Linda Fredericks, was in attendance. She stayed on the site plan, was acceptable to her, and she was pleased that they made the changes as recommended by the design review committee. There were no objectors at the hearing. The proposal on the text amendment was unanimously approved, as were the variances.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes and place them on file. And,
We have a motion, a second, to receive the minutes placed on file, concur with the recommendation. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
I would add both under our development agreement and the presentation to both the commission and the design review committee, this particular Dollar General will be upgraded from the typical ones you see concerning the hardy board masonry sides, two-tone color on the bottom and on the top. And the nice thing is with this design, the delivery will be shielded from Peoria Street traffic. And that was one of the reasons for the variance, so they wouldn't beat up the curbs. They have a 37-foot entrance in egress by delivery trucks. They said there will only be probably 2 delivery trucks a week, and those would be during daylight hours when the store is open. So the first ordinance amends the zoning ordinance, and that's a text amendment, because given the number of different products that they sell, a lot of the things, most of the things they sell are otherwise within different permitted uses under the zoning ordinance, and then we have a kind of a hodgepodge at the end that says, anything compatible essentially with the above uses, but just to make sure this text amendment adds discount and variety stores within that zoning classification.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the ordinance as written and read?
so moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Is there any discussion? A roll call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokosius. Radke.
Aye.
Mueller. Sapienza. Payton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
And then we have the ordinance granting the requested variances along Peoria Street, 6th Street, the driveway width, the landscape strip, the landscape area, which would be no less than 6% of the entire area of the property. There's screening, and the property presently doesn't have any on-site water detention, so neither will the new development.
Have a motion to approve the ordinance.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance as written and read. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokosius. Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Payton.
Motion approved.
There is a public hearing concerning the vacation of the north 20 feet of 6th Street, as it is contiguous to this property. City engineer Rick Cowles testified at that hearing. We have no utilities within the proposed vacated site. Nonetheless, the vacation ordinance will reserve any utilities that the city will need in the future, and also may need access to serve the electric line that is to the south of the
area of Sixth Street, but there would be parking within this area that is vacated, and that would be part of the legal description of the property that's conveyed to DG Partners for the store, and that legal description of that 20 feet is incorporated into the property that would be conveyed, and that's the subsequent ordinance that we have to finalize that legal description.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we receive the minutes and place them on file.
Have a motion, a second to receive the minutes, place on file. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. Here we have the ordinance vacating lot 20 feet of Sixth Street as it's contiguous to lots 8, 9, 10, and east 33 feet of lot 7 in block 166 in Brewster's Addition.
I'll make a motion, Your Honor, that we grant the ordinance as written and read.
Have a motion, a second to grant the ordinance as written and read. Is there any discussion? Have a roll call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller. Sapienza. Payton.
Motion approved. An ordinance authorizing the Second Amendment to the Regional Development Agreement. The First Amendment just extended the closing date to honor before September 7th. In the Second Amendment, as I stated, includes a vacated portion of Sixth Street within the legal description.
Your Honor, I will make a motion that we grant the ordinance as written and read.
Have a motion, a second to grant the ordinance as written and read. Any discussion?
So Doug, the remaining portion of the agreement is that the city will convey the property for $1.
That's correct.
And they are responsible to raise, Dollar General is responsible to raise the building and build a new structure and all the improvements.
That is correct. Their engineer advised the city engineer that when permits are issued, which probably be tomorrow, they want to proceed to close as soon as possible. So, even though the agreement provides only before September 7th, I suspect that it'll be done before that, because it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, that they want to raise the building and begin construction yet this year.
Yeah, I believe that is correct, and actually Ryan Swanson is here on behalf of DG tonight, so Ryan may be able to speak to that a little bit as far as timelines.
Yep.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Ryan Swanson. I'm with Arc Design Resources, and Eric is correct. We have provided our closing documents, which are a series of site plans and things like that, to DG Partners, and subject to really the final building permit review, they're preparing to close pretty quickly. So that's what, as far as we know, that's the intention. Appreciate everybody's help with this project.
Yeah, thank you for the investment in the city. Or not thank you, thank your client.
And thanks for making all the changes requested by the Design Review Committee. It really enhances the aesthetics of both the site and the building.
Actually, I will add, those were, they weren't that hard to make. They were actually pretty good suggestions. So at the end of the day, I think it really added to the product in general, especially for the neighbors too.
We're essentially ready to move into the new building. There's some office finishing, I think, but
Yeah, we had a slight delay with some of the office area, some changes that we made with the HVAC. So in tempering that portion of the building in order to do the drywall work, we were delayed. But the garage space is completed, the mechanic space is completed, the wash bays are completed. So the office area is lagging just slightly, but we're ready to move in there. Well, we were waiting for the closing date, obviously, and Doug, you can correct me if I'm wrong, typically about 30 days time from time of notice on that. So I was planning on the end of the month, so try to get demobilized with some of the contractors that are up there. We do still have a lot of things around the site with materials and office trailers and whatnot. So I'd like to get some of that stuff out of there if we could. I know right now two chiefs and the guys at the building are prepping for the move. Talking with some of the public works guys, they've been going through materials and organizing things in preparation of that move. So I would say in the next few weeks we'll probably start moving some of the items up there.
We ordered some shelves, we're waiting for those to come in, because we want to organize what we're putting up there, so we're gonna get those in the ground, and they're pretty heavy duty shelves, as soon as all that stuff comes in. All the outside ground moves, concrete, that's all finished. They will be good enough.
The east side of the building is completed. We added some approach work outside of the building. So we have an approach slab. We finished that area with some grindings, and we also started forming what will be a future berm on that side. As I said earlier, there's still a lot of materials and office trailers that remain on the north face of the building, the west face. Once those materials and trailers are removed, we'll come in and finish some of that preliminary site work. We did anticipate next year coming in with another project to address some additional site work and combining the yards between electric and public works, and there's a lot of different variables that need to happen in that area. But until we can finish the building construction, clean up the area around the building, we really can't finish a lot of that site work.
We still need to vote on that last ordinance. We have a motion by Alderman Waldorf, second by Alderman Sapienza. So we'll call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller. Sapienza. Payton.
Motion approved. Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, any unfinished business?
Yes, at this time, Your Honor, I'd just like to mention that, we're well into our application period for the energy efficiency lighting program through the IMEA. And right now, we've had inquiries and applications from, I think there's 6 or 7 different businesses and companies. And this year, we have $53,626.33 as the total amount of incentives that the city can offer. And right now, the scope of the work that has been presented is well above that. So we have to make a decision on whether we want to cut this application thing off at this time, or if you want to extend it and start giving less to each applicant. I'd just like some input from the entire council on this. I mean, we can handle this at the committee level, but I thought everybody should have a chance to voice their opinion.
We were in the same situation last year where we had quite a bit of activity, and it was more than we had to spend. It's money that the agency provides for us to spend for energy efficiency, and we were once again in the same position last year. What we ended up doing was, once everybody was approved by the agency and the amount that they were approved for, everybody that was approved ended up with 70% of what they were eligible for. And that spent up to, we had like $4,000 left over at that time, which our electric department did some upgrading. So I don't know where we're going to be, because we have 53,000. There's one on there that's approved for 62. And then there's others that are, so I don't know exactly where we're going to be. To me, I think that's the fairest way to do it. Everybody that's in, everybody that's been approved, and then you're approved for 62,000, but you're not going to receive it because you wouldn't receive that anyway. So.
And we're in the application period now. I mean, we're already a month
Right.
weeks farther along than we were last year.
Right, oh, yeah.
We've held it open, but,
How much over, do you have a number, how, we're approved for 53,000, how many, you got a total on the applications, how far over we are?
I don't have that figure, but, if all of them would be 100%, it would be over the 53,000.
Yeah, it's in the 85,000, I believe. I don't know if it's in the correspondence that you have in front of you, or...
No, it's not in this one.
Okay.
Can we cut off the application process and then give everyone the appropriate percentage that's approved as of now?
Right, I can talk to Rod. He has a few that are pending still. And, you know, we had mentioned that it was going to be June 1st. Some have come in late, you know, past June 1st, so. And then there's some that it goes out in the city bill, right?
It did, this is the first time we put it out to all,
Right, so there's some...
all commercial accounts.
The response has been very good.
Right,
But
there's...
I think even if people have an application in and something is pending, we ought to leave the door open for those people. I don't think we ought to cut them out.
Right. Let's see what the total is, and then look into it a little bit deeper. I don't know where you're going, Alderman Radke. I'm reading your mind. I think I know where you're going, but I can't do
A
that.
couple $1,000s, I would just say maybe the city covers it, but now we're $50,000 over, then we're starting to talk about a significant.
Right.
You know, they can reapply next year also. You know, it's not something that's a one-time shot. They can reapply.
There's one facility that wants to relamp their whole business, and it's a fairly large business in the area. If they could relamp partially in 16 and then partially in 17, maybe it would work that way. I don't know.
That might work too, yeah.
If we have,
Well, the only reason I said 70, that's what it came to last year. We were able to go to 70% over the 3 or 4 or 5 customers. I don't know, we'd have to ask the agency who it was, what it was. But it ended up being in the neighborhood of 70% to come as close to what we had available. You know, I know what Alderman Radke's saying, and I can agree with that. We'll just have to come up with the numbers and see what everybody wants to do. Because it is pretty good savings for the commercial businesses. All right, we'll gather a little more information before public service on Monday. Any other unfinished business? New business?
Your Honor, I'd like to discuss with the council and make a motion to seek applicants for a vacancy in the Public Works Department with an emphasis on water. We do have the anticipated retirement of one city employee. We've been running on a skeleton crew for some time. Personally, I think we need 2 employees in the Public Services Department, as it would allow us to provide more service and have a smoother operation. But at this time, we're looking for one applicant or one employee. It would be in October. Well, Chief, why don't you've got your plan in place. Is it in October going out advertising?
No, we'd want to, if the council's inclined, we would advertise through maybe Labor Day. Kim could get the ads going. Then the committee could do the interview process likely during the month of September, narrow it down, bring a selected candidate back to the council October 1st with the hire date of November 1st to November 15th. So if we get somebody on by the 1st of November or the first part of November, they could be trained for the snow route that unfortunately will be coming to us before we know it. So applications through Labor Day, interviews through September, selected candidate to the council. That person gives their notice wherever they're working with a start date of November 1st to November 15th.
Chief King, do you have any thoughts on whether or not we need this employee or 2?
We absolutely do. Especially with the snow routes. I mean, we don't get another employee on the snow routes, and obviously we're gonna have to redo all the snow routes. and that's gonna be more training, and I believe we get this person in, we can get them going on the snow routes, and we also are lacking in the water side. We have plenty I shouldn't say we have plenty, but we have more in streets than we do water, so when we have on-call situations like that, we're pulling street people to do water call, and they don't know it like what the water guys do. So when we advertise, we'd like to have an emphasis on water or pipe, at least pipe fitting, as a minimum, so we can get those type of people in here and get them working, where it'll be a lot less training than somebody that doesn't have any experience, subgrade or working on water mains or anything like that. So that's kind of what we're looking at.
Well, I'll make it a motion, to seek applicants for a vacancy in the Public Works Department with an emphasis on water.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to seek applicants for vacancy in Public Works Department with emphasis on water. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call the roll.
Alderman Putoff. Aye. Ferrari. Aye. Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokosius.
Aye.
Radke.
Aye.
Mueller.
Aye.
Sapienza. Peyton.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Next, Your Honor, I'd just like to discuss the 2017 TBM Avengers Salute to Veterans event. The planning is well underway for the event, which will be held May 20th next year, which is Armed Forces Day, which is very appropriate. We had a fundraising meeting with the Starved Rock Country Community Foundation, which is going to be, we will partner again with them for our 501c3. And they came with some pretty good news the other day. Last year's event in the Salute to Veterans, they had invited a gentleman from Marseilles by the name of Ed McConnell, and he was a crew member, a gunner on a TBM Avenger during the Second World War in the South Pacific, and he had a lot of stories to share with the TBM pilots and their families, and it was quite a moving event, and he got a lot of memorabilia from the pilots, and sorry to say that 2 months after the event, he passed away. He was confined to a wheelchair, and he was struggling pretty much during the show last year, but his family thought so much of this event that they decided to donate $20,000 to the foundation to keep this event going on an annual basis. So it really gives us a kickstart for next year's show, and just like to commend the family for something that's obviously a big move.
Would that be something that we could send a letter of thanks over?
Yeah, I would definitely think that would be appropriate. We were in talks to try to see if they want some type of recognition, at the show next year, but they're very low key, and they said, no, Ed wouldn't want that. He just wants to see this show continue, and so anyway, the plans are well underway, and in talking with Brad Deckert, he's getting a lot of phone calls from people that are going to bring their aircraft to the show, so it should be bigger and better, hopefully.
That's pretty good news.
Yeah, very good.
Can the Chamber of Commerce arrange the same weather that we had last year?
Yeah.
Whatever. Can anybody?
Is the Flying Club or the TBM Avenger Club, or what are you going to send a letter, and then we'll
We're in touch right now on how we're going to handle this.
Okay, all right.
And thank you for that, because it was donated to the foundation.
Right.
And they want it as an ongoing thing to keep this thing on an annual basis, so they don't want us to spend the 20 grand all in next year, but,
Okay. Let's see, I need a motion to approve the appointments of Mayor Harrell, Mayor Harrell, ETSB Chairman Joe Hogan, Police Chief Doug Burnaby, and Fire Chief Jeff King as city-approved representatives on Board of Directors for Illinois Valley Regional Dispatch.
I'll make that a motion, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the appointments. Doug, do you want to talk a little further on that, what all the other towns,
Right.
who's on the board with all the other towns?
The original members of IVRD, we passed this intergovernmental agreement a couple of months ago as the cities of LaSalle, Peru, Oglesby, and Mendota. And under the intergovernmental agreement and the bylaws, there's 4 representatives from each of those 4 communities. And then associate members will be communities that are going to contract with IVRD that have a seat on the board, more of a ad hoc position. They don't have voting rights, but they will have a representative on the board for their input. And we're in discussions with Utica Fire Protection District, Earlville Fire Protection District, and the city of Spring Valley that are likely going to contract with IVRD. So each city has to formally appoint the 4 representatives on the board of directors, and we are set to start phase 1 on September 1st. It's a 3-phase process. Hopefully by May 1st, we will be operating completely under one roof with all new equipment that is going to be debt-free, which is pretty significant. A lot of new necessary 911 equipment. You probably saw it in the paper recently. Probably a $1.8 million worth of equipment if the towns weren't working together. It's going to be in the $500,000 range. We're looking at some preliminary budget numbers. Just for kind of a recap, currently today in Peru, it costs the city $54 per capita to run our dispatch center. That's employee costs, that's the pension costs, the legacy costs, that sort of thing. So $550,000 just to run our 911 center, or $54 per capita. Starting in September through April, you'll be paying $20 per capita. So you're going to go from $550,000 to just right at $200,000. And then May 1st, we fully expect the per capita charge to go down to $16 per capita for each town, or $164,800. So in our particular case, we're looking at maybe $400,000 in savings each year. It's a little higher for the first 6 months because it's a 3-phase process and we have to do more training, so we're going to have some more man hours initially. But by May 1st, when we're up and running, we fully expect it to be $16 per capita to LaSalle, Peru, Oglesby, and Mendota, have all brand new 911 equipment in place, and be debt-free. So at least this part of consolidation is promising when you consolidate in government. So we're pretty excited about it. It's going very well. A lot's happening, but it's going to happen all by September 1st. So everybody's worked together, and it's been very productive.
Well,
About 6 years, I think.
Well, I was just going to say, we were talking about cemetery 20 minutes ago, and we started on the mausoleum to free up the money through the courts for the mausoleum, and that was a year. This started 5 years ago in 2010. Yeah, 6 years ago. It's 2016 now. Yeah, 6 years ago. And it started with just a meeting, where the 3 mayors sat down and talked about, Mayor Grove, Mayor Finley, and myself, and this is where it's at. And you mentioned the equipment costs alone would have been 1.8 if all the communities needed to do their upgrades, which you don't have a choice, and now we're looking at 500, so 1.8 minus 500, I think that's 1.3 that, these 4 towns have saved immediately. That's quite a bit. And the per capita that's going down, the cost per capita, so that's pretty big, but it takes time. Just the bottom line, it takes time, so. Anyway, we have a motion by Alderman Waldorf, second by Alderman Sapienza, and if there's no further discussion, we'll have a roll
The
call.
only thing I would add is the people that are not, we disbanded our ETSB board, correct?
Actually, all the ETSBs for the cities are still operational until the final consolidation takes place per state law by next July 1st. It may be May 1st, that's our goal. It has to be done by July, but May 1st is our goal simply because that starts the new fiscal year. So upon fully operational date, all the existing ETSBs in LaSalle County will cease to exist and then will become a joint LaSalle County ETSB.
I'd just like to see the city maybe give a plaque or a letter to those people that were on the telephone board for all those years that, they did a
Right.
great job.
Right.
Joe will continue on the new
Right.
board, but the other people will be off the board. I think it'd be nice for the city to give them a letter or a
Yeah,
plaque
Richard Velasnik, for example.
plaque or something
I think
to
been on the board since,
thank them for their service.
the late eighties, since it
Yeah.
originated. Richard's been on there, and he's done the books every month and wrote the checks and, all that.
For very little pay.
Very little, yeah.
You could not pay them less unless they paid you.
No, you couldn't. So, yeah, we're gonna do something, for sure.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, call the roll.
Alderman Putoff.
Aye.
Ferrari.
Aye.
Waldorf.
Aye.
Prokosius. Radke. Wheeler. Sapienza. Peyton.
Motion approved. Is there any further new business? Petitions, communications.
Yes, Your Honor, the first one is from Jim Schaefer of IVCH requesting permission to hold the IVCH Fall Fitness 5K Run on Saturday, September 3rd, 2016.
Do we have a motion to receive communication, place on file, and grant permission?
So moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Next one is a communication from Robert Paul. He's actually here in attendance this evening, pastor of Life Church Peru, requesting permission to hold a local loyalty awareness event at Baker Lake on October 15th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. At our last meeting, there was a short discussion. Well, 2 meetings ago, there was some discussion about a request for a loyalty run, and we did some additional checking with the applicants and basically working to ensure that there was a local presence and that local charities would benefit from the event. The following week, I reported on that. The council did motion and approve the loyalty run. My understanding is that those folks that were intending to participate and sort of take the lead on that event aren't going to be taking the lead, and Mr. Powell, Pastor Powell, will be taking the lead, and he is a local presence for us. So I'm kind of excited that that it's going to happen. The date's going to change from I think the August 14th date to October 15th. So what's your pleasure on that?
I made the motion to accept the communication and grant permission. I will rescind that and make this a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to receive the communication, place on file, and grant permission. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Pastor, did you have anything that you wanted to say, or?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Final communication is from Abby Burris, requesting a special use to operate an in-home salon for a property located at 2310 Shooting Park Road.
Okay, do we have a motion to receive the communication, place on file, and forward it to the planning zoning for
so
review
moved.
and recommendation?
I just had a question on this. She currently has an in-home operation right now, and she's moving a couple of blocks. Do we still have to do this, or is there any way we can just do a text amendment, or no? Okay.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to receive the communication from Abby Burris, requests a special use to operate an in-home salon for property located at 2310 Shooting Park Road, and turn it over to planning zoning for review and their recommendation. Is there any comment? All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
No further communications, Your Honor.
Any public comment? We have any public comment? Jerry?
It's really been a challenging thing. I get the calls probably at least once a week on electronics recycling. The companies that we partnered with previously, one Vintage Check, which was up in the suburbs, is not offering. Their explanation is they've met their quota. It's all tied to federal funding. The federal government mandated that the electronic suppliers deal with their own waste, and then they move those funds along, and once they've used them up, they stop having the events. The company we worked with last year, ATR, out of I think Pontiac, I've reached out to them a number of times, even saying, give me a number so that we can have an event, 1 semi-load, 2 semi-loads, and I've been told they're not interested.
Staples accepts them. Yes. Do they charge by the pound, or what do they do? No. Really? Staples. Staples? Yes.
Yeah, that's really the problem, is the TVs are really expensive, because they can't recycle all the stuff out of the TVs, and so they have to pay to recycle the TVs, and it becomes pretty expensive. I think most of the other electronics, people, I think you're right, people like that may take. Well, but when you have those old tube TVs, they're really, you can take them to the recycle yourself, but they'll charge you $25 an hour. Yeah, I know, that's right.
Something I'm continuing to try to find a... Yeah, I did see that in the newspaper.
Who did?
I don't know. I will reach out to the streeter, I think they have a city manager, and find out where they sourced it, if they're funding it themselves, it's very frustrating, because I get calls all the time, and I even, recently, Simcoe in Ottawa that was taking, stopped taking, and some of them that were taking and raised their cost for the televisions. It used to be $0.25 a pound, and now it's going up from that, so it's a problem.
Any other public comment? Anybody? Okay, closed session, no. Motion for adjournment?
So moved, Your Honor.
Have a motion, a second, all in favor? Meeting adjourned.